All right. You brought up, as we were in the break, you brought up Game 3 of the NBA Finals in Dallas. Legitimate. It's had a 50-point game here against Orlando a few years ago. I've done every single game the dude has played in the NBA. I've never seen Jaylen Brown better than he was in Game 2 tonight.
He was exceptional. I can't argue the point. I think what he did was he took over the great game, and the things I really liked about what Jaylen Brown did today, did all the other little things. When you're talking about rebounding the basketball, that was one of the things I said. 10 rebounds tonight with Jaylen Brown. We don't see those numbers. That is what I talked about. He could score, but he's going to have to do those other things and get an assist.
You know what he did tonight? He did the Jaylen things, and then he also did the Jason things. Jason gets defensive rebounds. That's a Jason Tatum thing. He piles up defensive rebounds. Tonight, Jaylen Brown had all 10 of his rebounds on the defensive end. He was a +9 in this game. He had 5 assists, 36 points on 19 shots, and 5 of 7 from 3, including the tone setter that started the game and the first 2 threes to start the second half, and then he hit that big one late. You know, it's funny. I would not call this a great Derek White game, but when it mattered, he just made those big threes out of nowhere. Drew Holiday kept making plays. The Celtics basically played 6 guys tonight. Sam Hauser played 13 minutes, was not overly involved. Luke Cornett had to come in for a couple of minutes, you know, here and there, and it's just not a great matchup for Luke Cornett. So the Celtics suddenly, as deep as they are, they looked really thin. You take the head of the snake, Jason Tatum, off. But how disheartening is it? Listen, I've said this 100 times, and here comes 101. The Orlando Magic are coming back to Boston. I don't know if it's going to be for Game 5, but next year, the year after, Orlando's coming. But they're not there yet. This roster is just not set. They brought Kentavious Caldwell-Pope here to be a veteran, to help them in playoff games because he's a champion in road games and to make shots. And tonight, with all of the heat on him for the Tatum injury, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, let's face it, he crumbled under that. He made a shot late that was meaningless in the game, but he missed his first 6 or 7 when the game mattered. He missed a free throw. He tripped Al Horford, picked up that foul in the backcourt. And whether what Al said got to him or not yesterday, I have no idea. But on a night they desperately needed somebody else to be that third guy with Wagner and Banchero, Wendell Carter was really good, but they just don't have enough on this roster to beat the Celtics without Tatum.
Well, one of the things you looked at you for tonight, you said, okay, there's going to be other things going to help these guys out, Orlando. And one of the things I thought was Cole Anthony was going to come in and score the basketball and be effective. Cole Anthony essentially has been invisible. Peyton Pritchard, if he wasn't a 6-man, boy, he solidified it yet again. He shot the ball. He rebounded the ball. He attacked the rim. He made some huge plays tonight. And when your superstar is out of a game for the short term, you've heard me say this 100 times, here's 101, you can do what you need to do. The long term is when you don't have a guy like Tatum because you cannot do all the things he does continuously over the rest of the season. So got by now, go to Orlando, see if you can steal a game there. If you can win Game 3, I think it's just, I'm like you. I think it's the lights are just a little bit too bright now for some of the Orlando players, not their star players, right, but some of those other guys.
All right. First of all, you're so right. I'm not going to question. Listen, Jamal Mosley is one of the great young coaches in the game. I, for the life of me, do not understand why Cole Anthony's not playing more, given the way he finished the season.
Well, I think in this particular series, I think better players have been on the floor. Black has been on the floor.
Black has been really good, but they need offense. They need more offense, and Cole Anthony's been giving that to them down the stretch. And you can say, hey, listen, they played tight, and they scratched, and they clawed, and they did this stuff. They do not have enough offense with Cole Anthony off the floor.
I think I agree, but I think he is a wild card that you can use. Maybe you get home, but I thought Corey Joseph played well enough to stay in this game, and I think if you look at his numbers, what he did defensively, when Orlando got back in, he made some huge plays.
All right, let me ask you the question I'm sure Joe Murray's going to be asking and discussing now. Do you keep sitting Jason Tatum until you lose?
You know what? It depends on how he feels. To me, it's like, if you're Jason Tatum, here I'll give you this one. Why is he shaking hands with his right hand?
It's a reasonable
Why
question.
is he high-fiving people with his right hand? If you got a bone bruise, you shouldn't even be looking at the guy. Only way you give a guy a high five is, here you go, take it with my left, take it with my left. But you can't shake hands and talk to referees with your right hand. You can't do that if in fact. So I think that you're just going to go, and when he feels better, you let him play.
One final note. Remember a couple of years ago, the Celtics went down 3-0 in Miami, and the entire world said Joe Mazzulla can't do this job, and he's over his head and whatever. Remember that night?
Yeah, I do.
The Celtics have now played 25 playoff games since then. They are 21-4.
Yeah. Done what he needs to do, buddy.
All right, 6:30 start on Friday night, and then Game 3 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals as the Celtics go for the 3-0 lead in the series. They play without Jason Tatum tonight, and they survive as Jaylen Brown plays one of the games of his life. 109-100 is the final. Max and I will talk to you Friday night from Orlando.